Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. As you saw right there, I just wrapped up a chest day, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how you can maximize the bench press, because let's be honest, most people, when we go to the gym, we bench press sometime in our life. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to maximize it to get the best bang for your buck if you're training for strength or hypertrophy. So let's get right into it. Alright, but I just want to state some things right away. When we're bench pressing, we need to put our egos at the door. This is literally the lift that everyone's done it. Let's be honest. I've done it. You've done it. Everyone at some point in our lives, we're bench pressing and we ego lifted on the bench press. We need to put our egos aside here, because guess what? If you're ego lifting, you're probably going to get injured, and guess what else? When you're injured, you can't be training, so you can't be making gains. And who wants to tear a freaking pec? Then it's just a big no. We want to avoid that, mitigate injuries. So when we are bench pressing, we're going to want to control it, we're going to want to I say control the negative, and I do think that that is very important for hypertrophy. But if we're going for a powerlifting state, you probably don't really need to do that. But if you are powerlifting and if you are training for hypertrophy, we can always pause the weight at the bottom. That is, if you do want to compete in powerlifting eventually, you are literally required to pause the weight. So why are we doing touch and go reps? It's if you're competing in powerlifting, if you do a touch and go rep, the lift doesn't count. So why would you not practice what you're gonna have to do on the platform? So when if you're training for powerlifting, make sure to pause that weight. It gets rid of the stretch reflex, and it will greatly reduce your risk of injury. So that's the first thing I want to say. Don't ego lift. Pause the weight on your chest. And that is the most important tip I can give you guys on the bench press. Okay, but what else should we do on the bench press? Because I also mentioned controlling the eccentric. But if we're powerlifting, I wouldn't say you need to control the eccentric, because if we're training for maximum strength, we just really care about the concentric. Yes, it will obviously be safer by controlling the eccentric, because you'll have to lighten the weight. But in powerlifting, you don't care really about that eccentric portion. You just care about pausing the weight and pressing it up. Obviously, you don't want to just completely drop it on your chest, but in powerlifting, not as important to control the eccentric. In bodybuilding, however, this is very crucial if we're just trying to get the biggest chest possible, because the eccentric portion of the lift is likely more important than the concentric. So when we're lowering that weight, we want to feel our chest practically tearing apart on that negative. We want to engage the chest, get a really great time under tension. And most people, when we're bench pressing, they're doing it in the really, really low rep range. Like, they're doing like 5-6 reps. It's just too low. I mean, we know from research that you can build muscle at these different rep ranges, but it's just, you're much more likely to get injured, and you're much more likely to be ego lifting when you're using in that lower rep range. Now, if you're training for powerlifting, then I do think eventually you're going to have to start dipping into that lower rep range as you get closer to your meet, because doing lower reps and lifting heavier weight will get you stronger. It's just not as safe. So if you are going to do that lower rep range, make sure to be very careful and always use safety racks just in case. This goes to whether if you're doing bodybuilding or powerlifting and you're bench pressing. Always use safety racks, because you never know if you're going to tear a pec and the weight's going to come crashing down on your neck. And if it does, Well, you guys know the rest. So always use the safety racks. And back to bodybuilding, we want to control that eccentric because, of course, we want to, I was saying, we want to feel our pecs tear apart on the negative. If we're trying to bodybuild, we don't care how much weight we're putting on the freaking bar, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
how much weight we are lifting. The muscles don't know, oh, you're lifting 300 pounds or, oh, you're lifting 200. They only know that there's freaking tension on it and if you're going to failure or not. And we know training closer around maybe 3 to 2 reps from failure is ideal for hypertrophy. Now, for me, I like to take most of my sets to failure and beyond. I think that's just fun, and it's just fun for me, and I don't really have a problem with recovering with that. But something I will say is if you want to take your bench press to the next level for hypertrophy and bodybuilding, now I wouldn't recommend this if you are bench pressing to powerlift, because we don't really care as much to stimulate hypertrophy because we're trying to just get as strong as possible. Obviously, I do think growing your chest a little bit is probably going to help you. I would say a bigger muscle, I'm just pulling this out of my ass at this point. I don't think there's much research on this, but I would imagine that a bigger muscle has the ability to become stronger. So I do think even if you are a power lifter, you still should do some hypertrophy focused work. But if we only care about hypertrophy, I would recommend using a cambered bar when we're bench pressing. Why? Because then we can go even deeper and get a huge stretch on the pecs. And that's personally why when I'm training chest, I like to do a lot of fly movements, because we can get that big stretch, whereas a barbell, we can't as much. So I like to use a cambered bar when I am bench pressing. I haven't been using a normal straight bar ever since I got the Rogue Seal Row bar, and I actually did make a review video on that bar, so if you want to go check it out, I would highly recommend the bar, and I would highly recommend you watch that video to know more on it. But there are other cambered bars you can get. This is just the one that I have, and it gives you a really big stretch on the pecs. Pause the weight for a little bit, control that eccentric, and your chest is going to grow like a freaking weed, okay? If you don't have one of these bars and you really want to maximize hypertrophy on the bench press, go as deep as you can. Or what I would recommend is actually using dumbbells, because if you use dumbbells, you can go deeper because when you use dumbbells, you bring them out to the side, so your chest won't be blocking you from getting that deeper range of motion like on a barbell. So if you want to maximize hypertrophy, I would recommend dumbbells. Now, the only thing I would say to that is as you get really, really strong, it may become a little bit dangerous to, swing the dumbbells in place. But for me, not an issue, because I'm not at a level of strength where that is a problem. I think the most I can do on an incline dumbbell press anyway, for reps, I think I did 55s for 7 or 6 reps. That's technically the most I've ever done. I've never 1 rep maxed anything like that. And I don't think you need to if you are bodybuilding. If you're powerlifting, different story. If you're powerlifting, then I would definitely recommend just the straight barbell, because we don't really care about maximizing stretch. We really care about getting the weight from point A to point B. That is lowering it and pressing it up. So that is how you guys can maximize the bench press for whatever you're trying to do, whether that's bodybuilding, powerlifting, or just you're going to the gym and you're kind of just trying to do both. For me, definitely more on the bodybuilding side. I want to, get bigger and stuff like that. So I've started ditching the straight barbell altogether in favor of the cambered bar. But that is going to have to wrap up this video. Hope you guys learned something. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new here, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.